What is going on, Knicks family? It's your boy, UnclefOOlio, and I'm back with another episode of the Kontroversy, ladies and gentlemen. As always, these episodes are sponsored by Nothing But Knicks. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that notification bell to be notified anytime we go live. Pre-game coverage, post-game coverage, shoot-around videos, Queens Court videos, Knicks and Bruises. We do it all here on NBK, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in on this Sunday. Going on, so we won't be long today. And I do want to apologize for yesterday. The Spectrum internet in my area down here in Charlotte kind of went out, so I was supposed to do the show yesterday, and I know I had some people waiting. So I just want to apologize for that, even though it wasn't my fault. But I also want to apologize, and thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. In today's episode, we're going to talk about, is the Knicks season over? Is the Knicks season over? Are we completely done for? Stick a knife in us? You know, are we going to be able to make any type of comebacks this season? Should we play the kids more? We're going to talk about that. And then also we're going to do an extension from last week's show in which we talk about your Julius Randle trades. A lot of people want to trade him. So we're going to talk about what trades make sense for the Knicks at this point to trade Julius Randle. I got my guy Andy here with me, and we're going to talk about this and break it down. What's going on, Andy?
What up, Josh? Happy to be on with you.
Thank you. I know we got a lot of requests from the last show. And since we've been on this thing with Fanspo, shout out to Fanspo, by the way, the wonderful trade machine that they have. It allows us to go ahead and be our couch GMs, if you will. So thank you to Fanspo. But I know we've been getting a lot of requests. Talk about this trade, talk about that trade. What do we think about this trade? What do we think about that? And we're definitely going to do that today. So I have some trades that were submitted to us via Twitter, and then Andy has some trades that were submitted via Fanspo. So we're going to talk about that in the second half of the show. But Andy, the main question and thesis of today's program is: are the Knicks done? Is their season over? How do you assess the way the Knicks have been playing lately? And what do you think the Knicks can do to try to get better, if anything?
Yeah, Josh. Listen, for me, the season isn't done yet. It's close though. It's really close.
Right.
It's almost 30 games to play. But if we don't turn it around really, really fast, it might start to get really, really ugly. The last couple of games already showed us that, the Knicks are not in top form offensively, defensively, no other way. The numbers might show that we are getting a little bit better, but, the main man on this team, I think he's failing more people than just the fans. I think he's also failing the management, the coach, even himself. So, if he doesn't pick it up, I don't think, we're going to have an easy way to go.
Yeah, I agree with you. Randle's definitely has not been playing well. We all know he has the capability of playing better. And I think, I don't want to, go ahead and speculate, but I did kind of tweet something out the other day. Maybe Randle behind the scenes probably requested a trade. I mean, I don't know why he would do that. The Knicks organization has shown that they've been very loyal to him after everything that happened last season. But at this point, because the front office has been very mum on this issue, and Thibodeau hasn't really been giving us anything to really go after, that's why fans are going to speculate. And, there has to be something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about in regards to Julius Randle. I don't know if it's his child or we just don't know, but it's really kind of amazing to see this fall from grace from this New York athlete who everyone wanted to do everything for last season, thought he was going to be a part of our future, to now just to play like this. And it's just, can't really say enough. I really don't understand what's going on. We know he has the capability of playing better. That's the thing. We know that. He's still, even with this lack of effort, he's still a 19-10 player. You know what I'm saying? Their shooting percentages aren't great, but 19 and 10 is still valuable around this league. And 5 points, 4 points, 9 points, and only nine shots, I think, tells a lot of the story. Do you think anything is going on behind the scenes, Andy, in regards to Randle?
Yeah, Josh, I was saying that, for me, it's definitely mental with him. He's built like a bull. We didn't see him having any kind of even minor injury going around. So I think he can't blame it on that. I think it's purely mental with him. Like you said, might be something off the court, might be something with the team. I was thinking yesterday, I don't know why, I was thinking, when I was going to bed, I was thinking about Julius Randle's problems, but I was thinking about it. And listen, I didn't hear any podcaster or streamer say this thing, but there were rumors that, the teammates of Kemba Walker weren't happy about his benching, by Tibbs, right? And we,
Right.
muled through this topic, weeks and weeks ago on the day that happened, right? Meanwhile, listen, after a couple of bad games, maybe they had a team meeting, and someone just purely pointed out to Julius that he's not treated like the rest of the team. He's playing really bad, and he's still getting minutes. He's still getting, shots. Maybe it's a internal team thing that the teammates just turn on Julius. He doesn't feel comfortable playing with them anymore. So listen, it might be something like that, even. And so, and that's, I think, if I don't think they can bury a hatchet if it's just Julius versus the rest of the guys, right? If it would
Right.
be like last season, it was probably Julius, Alfred, maybe a couple of guys more. But if this season it's just Julius versus the rest, listen, he probably, like you said, or he asked for a trade, or the management and the coaching staff just sees that there's no other way just to make a move. And just to add on that, Josh, I don't know if you saw the report that Louisville is looking actually at Kenny Payne, which was
Right.
one of the assistant coaches on Julius's staff in college. So listen, Kevin Knox isn't here. If Julius is going to be if Kenny Payne is going to be gone, Julius is going to be the only guy left on the team that has that much of a support.
Right.
So I think it might be a slippy slide for Julius this way. If that's that's the thing, even, right? We don't know. I'm
Right.
just speculating, like
Right.
we all do.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, in regards to Kenny Payne, like, I mean, I would hope that Knicks fans didn't think that we were going to have Kenny Payne as an assistant forever, right? Same with Mike Woodson, and when he left last year to go back to his alma mater, as well as a lot of the other assistant coaches on the Knicks staff, Johnny Bryant maybe, and then also Scott Perry. I think a lot of people, don't talk about Scott Perry in regards to how respected he is around the NBA. And I personally think he deserves to be running his own front office somewhere in the league. That's just my opinion. I think Scott Perry deserves that. Right now, he's the second man in line in regards to this Knicks organization, their front office. But he could easily go somewhere else and run their front office. And be a really good piece for someone trying to rebuild their franchise. Let me just highlight some of these comments, Andy. Michael Peterson. He says, "We here. Forget about the Chiefs game. Salute. Thank you for being here, guys." George Jones has salutations. Let's see. Frank Matos. Fournier and Burks for Rubio, Sexton, and a pick. Rubio and Sexton are both hurt, right?
Yeah, they're basically done for this year. So
throwing them away for a bag of cookies. I see. Okay. Sharon Cloyd, greeting. Many thanks to all you do for us, Knicks fans. Knick Nation, stand up. Thank you. I appreciate it. Get ready for the illogical arguments, Josh. All right, here's another one. Randle for D'Angelo and McDaniels to Minnesota. Interesting. I got to take a look at the contracts, but I think D'Angelo Russell makes over $30 million, right? So we would have to give up a little bit more to make that work. Probably some picks or something to, suffice. Josh is here. Josh, is Julius your BFF? No. And here we go. Let me get a couple more. Bing Bong Nick says has nothing to do with behind the scenes. So what is it then? All right. And then Bing Bong Nick, Perry wanted to trade guys. I don't know where you got that from. I don't know where you heard that, but I'm not sure if that's the case. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Like I said, we're going to talk about these trades a little bit later. But right now, we're just going to dive into a little bit what's going on with the Knicks. Right now, they're 23-27, right at the 50-game mark of the season, right? We are 2 games out in the loss column from the 10th spot, and I think 3 games overall we're out from the 8th spot. So the Knicks are very much still in play to technically, make the playoffs and get into the playoffs. But I think people are going to say that the season is over because we're not going to reach the same pinnacle that we got last season. And I think for a lot of people, that's disappointing. For me, not so much, because I think, if the Knicks make the playoffs as an 8 seed, win the play-in game, and really compete in that first round series, then what would we say then? Typically, to me, it's just not all about what you're doing in the regular season. It's also how you finish, right? So I think there's multiple ways we can look at this here. We just got to, continue to play on. Andy, do you think that if we play the kids more, that we'll be better off? Now, listen, I've been on record by saying that Thibodeau plays the kids. Our kids get a major pieces of our rotation, but some people just don't think so. And I think it really has to do with the whole Randle Obi situation, and it has to do with the rookies, Grimes and McBride. But Grimes has been playing in this rotation a lot lately, right? He's been playing a lot, and people are going to say, "Oh, it's because of COVID and Tibbs was forced to play him." Well, COVID is done. Most of our roster is healthy now, so you can't say that that's still the reason why Grimes is getting playing time. I think Thibodeau realizes that Grimes is a really important piece to what we do. Love his defense. Did you see his defense last game against Middleton in the mid-range? I mean, for a rookie, that's great, right? And then the whole thing with Obi, like, should Obi Toppin get some more minutes over Julius Randle? I'm on record by saying I don't think that's the best chance for the Knicks to win right now. I mean, Obi Toppin can't create his own shot. He's very, very limited. So, I mean, I get it. People are frustrated with Randle, but I don't think by putting Obi Toppin in there, you solve a lot of issues. Andy, what's your take on that whole thing?
Yeah, Josh, definitely, just subbing in OB for Julius, that's not gonna make the team that much better. It might do us better for a game or two, but it's definitely not gonna get us to the promised land in the playoffs. That's for sure. Listen, even bringing up Grimes for Fournier, I'm not opposed to that. Listen, I like Fournier's game because I think we don't use him correctly, but I'm not opposed to getting Grimes in the starting lineup for Fournier, for anyone, because he plays, like you said, great defense, one-on-one defense, team defense. He does it all on the defensive end, and he's a shooter. So I'm happy with that kind of a skill set from a guy that's a rookie. And listen, if we're not gonna be trying that hard to win games from the tip off, I think Grimes, of course, he should get major minutes. And I wouldn't be, for me, listen, the adjustments should be made at the point guard position.
Right.
We know that Kemba is not this guy for the Knicks, and it's probably not also just his fault. Probably the offense, but I think it's easier to just sub in one guy than change up the whole offense. So if you would limit minutes for Fournier and for Julius, and scale up the minutes for Grimes and Obi, I think that might get us like one more win for 10 games probably.
Right.
But it's not going to be like, listen, we're going to swap minutes for Fournier and Julius, and it's going to be like we're going to win the next 8 out of 10 games. Let's not kid ourselves like that. Right. And like you said, listen, Tibbs is known for playing vets, but Grimes is getting minutes, Quickly is getting minutes. Listen, most of our squad is getting minutes. I also was thinking about Alec Burks. If Alec Burks would also get limited minutes, you could spare a few minutes of their to Grimes. You don't have to cut all off only from Fournier, right? Burks is playing a little bit worse last like maybe 10 20 games even. So those couple of adjustments could go on a positive way, not to mention even Cam, right? We didn't see much of him, but I think that Tibbs is a guy that he needs to be sure that the guy that's coming on the court knows all the tactics, the schemes and stuff like that, so he doesn't look lost out there. And that would be putting a guy like Cam in a bad spot by his coach. So I think he's also cool with it at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing, the acquisition of Cam Reddish, right? People thought that if you acquire someone like Cam, that automatically he's just going to play right away. And to me, Cam Reddish has not done enough in the NBA to earn that kind of cachet, if you will, right? Now, I think Cam Reddish will play eventually. I think eventually he's going to be a major piece of this rotation. But I think because the rotation is so stacked at that position, right now it's kind of difficult for him to find minutes and for the team for Thibodeau to honestly evaluate where Cam Reddish can be able to fit in. Now, the team makes some trades at the deadline. If they start to move some pieces around, I think that's when you'll be able to see where you'll be able to see if Cam Reddish can be able to fit in. But, Cam Reddish is not just going to come here and play right away. And there's only been how many games? 4 games since we acquired Cam Reddish? Like, people are like, oh, Tibbs is not playing Reddish. I think that time will come, right? The Knicks didn't just give up a first-round pick for Cam Reddish for him not to play. So it's going to happen. Cam Reddish will play. And I think ultimately his talent and that potential that we all see from Cam, on everything. But if you put Cam Reddish on this team right now, to me, this team is still going to be in the same situation, right? The team is just not a good, like the Knicks have talent on their roster, but to me, the pieces just don't fit with one another. I don't think Kemba doesn't fit with this roster, right? I don't think, Fournier is used correctly, if you want to use that term, or, kind of fits with this roster, right? So I think the talent is there, but the pieces just don't add up. And I think that's what the front office has to do next. Basically find talent that basically complements each other so the team can be better on the floor. And I think we'll see that with Cam Reddish at some point. It's going to happen, right? So I just think people need to be patient with that process. And that's why I asked this question about, is the next season over? Because everyone wants to play kids and give them extended minutes. Yet when we did do that in the 3 games that Julius Randle was out due to health and safety protocols, we stunk. And then everyone was like, oh, we don't have the right kids. The front office didn't draft correctly. It's because, people look at this stuff in a vacuum too much. They think that if you can throw a player on the court, everything is going to work out. You have to let the process play itself out. Some of these kids aren't ready to get extended minutes yet. Obi Top is not ready for extended minutes, 30-something minutes a game. He's just not at that level yet, right? So I just think people need to chill and let the whole process play itself out. I think the kids are still developing, despite what you think the kind of minutes that they should be getting. I think they're still developing. I think that process is not being affected at all by what's going on. But to make moves now for the short term, make something during the trade deadline, we'll see what's going to happen. But I don't think no move that the Knicks can make is going to change this season around. So that's just what I wanted to say with that. Now, Andy, let's get right to it. We're going to get right to these Julius Randle trades. Like I said, I don't want to be on here all day. Actually, people can tell I'm feeling under the weather a little bit. So I just want to get in here and get these trades off, and let's talk about them a little bit, okay? So as always, ladies and gentlemen, these trades are sponsored by Fanspo. Thank you for letting us use your trade machine. Excellent tool if we're going to go ahead and look at salary cap implications, things of that nature, for our fellow couch GMs out there. Okay, Andy, so the first trade that I'm going to bring up, this is what I've seen on Twitter. So people are going to send these trades, and I'm just going to go ahead and put them in the Fanspo trade machine. But I want everybody to know a lot of these trades for Julius Randle are going to say failed, right? It's because Julius Randle cannot be traded until February 3rd. So the Fanspo trade machine is so in depth that they are taking that into account. That's why a lot of those trades are going to say failed. But after February 3rd, a lot of these are going to say successful from the Fanspo algorithm, okay? So the first trade I'm going to bring up right here, this is going to be the Knicks and Blazers. They're making a trade here. So the Knicks are going to acquire C.J. McCollum, Anthony Simons for Kemba Walker, Julius Randle, and Emmanuel Quickley. So 2 players for 3 players, essentially. So, Andy, do you want to tackle this one first, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead with this one.
So I don't think this is going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. First of all, the Blazers love Anthony Simons. I don't see any reason why they would do that, right? I think they would make a move like this if they think they're going to be a contender in the Western Conference. But I don't think by adding Julius Randle instead of C.J. McCollum turns them into a contender in the Western Conference. At the same time, they're getting rid of their, top young guy in their organization, Anthony Simons. And I just don't see a reason why for them to make this trade. I guess you can make the argument that they want to get off C.J. McCollum's contract. If I'm the Knicks, I would love this, obviously. But for the Blazers, I don't think this is a smart move for them, and I don't think they're looking to do something like this. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I totally agree. But if you replace Simons with just a guy that probably earns around that money from the Blazers, I think they would try to dump McCollum's contract. Why? Listen, they had this experiment of CJ and Dame running for 7-8 years maybe. And
Right.
they clearly saw that it's not working. So and they are probably going to scrap that team. So the sooner they get it done, I think the better for them. In this trade, not only they're getting Julius Randle, right? They're getting a veteran guard in Kemba Walker and a young guard in Emmanuel Quickley. I think and that they will be happy if they don't have to give up Simons, because that's their main guy. I think for me, if I'm the Blazers, if I'm the Blazers and I'm scrapping that team, I'm trading McCollum, Nurkic, Covington, even Dame, but I'm leaving Simons, right? He's not up for grabs. He's like the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander from OKC.
Exactly.
He's like one of those guys. So basically a franchise player after this season.
Right, and they're gonna sign him to an extension. That's
Yeah.
inevitable. That's going to happen. So, I mean, I like it for the Knicks. Obviously, I think for us, I like it. I like C.J. McCollum, but the thing is, you put C.J. McCollum in this rotation, that creates even more of a glut. Yeah, you still got Fournier, right? You still got Fournier. You still got RJ. You still got Cam. You still got Grimes. It's just a lot. So for me, I just don't think this is going to work out. But I appreciate the proposal, though. 1975 Jamrock says, Josh, that's an extremely poor straw man argument. Fans want the kids to play more and for Tibbs to bring in the kids for energy, especially when it's lacking in some cases. I mean, I agree with you, but that's not going to change the output of the season. I mean, the Knicks are not at the point where they can win games off energy alone, particularly not in this next 10 games that we're going to play, right? The teams are just better constructed than us. So, I mean, I get it. I understand that, you want to see Tibbs with the rotations play, give the kids a little bit more time. But to me, I just don't think it makes a difference either way. I think the kids are still developing where they are. They're still getting the minutes that they're supposed to get. I just don't see our fortunes changing this season. Chevion Production, J. Worth, Bing Bong Nick says, stupid trade. Ivan Omar said, front office said IQ isn't up for trade. I think if the right trade comes along, IQ is gone. I don't think the Knicks are that stubborn that they're not going to give up Emmanuel quickly. David L says people are interested in IQ. Get him off the team. Don't hold him like Knox or Frank. All right. Basically, people saying they don't want CJ because he's too old. Basically, that's what it's coming down to, Andy. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let me get the next trade up here right now. All right, so this is the one I've seen floating around on Twitter as well. So this one gets us, this is like that low return that people expect that they're going to get for Julius Randle. So I'm going to just, talk about it real quick. So the Knicks are going to receive Harrison Barnes from the Kings, first round 2023, heavily protected, or lottery protected first round pick, and the 2022 second rounder that they got from Atlanta. And the Kings are going to receive Julius Randle. Like I said, the Randle, trade scenarios are going to all say failed right now because he's not eligible to be traded until February 3rd, which I think is this Friday coming up, right? So what do you think, Andy? I'm going to have you go first on this one. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, Josh. Whenever I heard trade proposals for Julius Randle going to the Sacramento Kings, fans were talking about getting back De'Aaron Fox, getting back Tyrese Halliburton. Listen, for one thing, those guys don't play the same position as Julius. So, just straight up of a trade means you would have to pull another trade to fill in that power forward position, because I don't see Obi Toppin getting starting minutes for every game. He can sub in for like 2-3 games, but he's not a starting power forward in the current NBA. That's why I was thinking actually about more of a kind like this trade that you get. I think Barnes was on the championship team with the Warriors, right? One of those years. So
very important piece of that championship. Very important.
Exactly. Piece. So, and I'm not saying that he's going to bring that culture of the the Warriors to the Knicks and stuff like that. I'm not about that. But he's a player, former champion that maybe isn't as flashy even as Julius, but he's a solid player. Right. And he's a versatile player. He can play even the 5. He can play the 3. So listen, he's not that kind of a bad comeback, if you ask me, when it goes to Julius Randle. Not to mention that his contract is shorter than Julius's contract, because if you look at Julius' contract, it's 5 years, and Harrison only has this year and the next year. Right. So even if that doesn't pan out, you will have still cap space to sign even a free agent. It's not going to be this offseason, but the next offseason, we're going to have more free agents on the market. So, this isn't that, bad of a trade if you really think that Julius won't turn this season around. And, fans probably think that that's the case. Just to add, I think Harrison Barnes has the skill set that would fit Tibbs' offensive schemes. And I'm not saying that he wouldn't have to tweak the offense, because for sure teams won't double Harrison Barnes like they double Julius on the current Knicks games. But I really think that, the passing from Harrison Barnes is there. The defense is definitely, better than Julius's. Probably the offensive prowess and it's a little bit, lower than Julius, but Julius isn't that much of an efficient scorer this year. So, it might balance itself out.
So, Andy, I don't want to say conflicted because at this point, the way Randle's playing, I think, you would have to consider this trade. But to me, this is the low end on basically any trade the Knicks can basically get, right? This is the low end. This is like the worst case scenario, which tells me in this type of situation, why not? Why not for the Knicks? Now, obviously, any trade that the Knicks make for Julius Randle, let's say they are going to trade Julius Randle, the team will be worse before they get better. No, like you trade Randle for Harrison Barnes, this team is not going to be better this season, right? You trade Randle for anybody. To me, like that's a similar or lesser value. This team is not going to be better this season. That's why as the season over, yeah, pretty much. Particularly if Randle's not going to play well, and if we trade him, it's I don't think the Knicks are going to be better this season. However, moving forward in the future, I think because Harrison Barnes' contract is expiring next season, because the Knicks are going to get a first-round pick out of this deal, and then another second-round pick, I think they would definitely have to consider this. This is if you make a trade like this, you're basically saying that we're gonna, not do well this season, and we're gonna basically throw in the towel for this season and continue to build and move forward. So I'm kind of conflicted about this. I think the team will be worse, but I think ultimately they can get better if you want to look at it that way. And most people just want Randle off the team anyway. So to me, this is the best case scenario for that. All right. Let's highlight some of these comments here. CJ don't play no defense. This is so funny. This is just hilarious. Let's see. Harrison Barnes is a solid player, but we have Cam Reddish. I don't see purpose. REJ do that. CJ scored enough for me to forget his bad defense. CJ is cool, but he would be our number one. I don't know about that. And that's why I'm saying in the short term, like things have to work itself out. Like the players have to get used to each other. I just don't see, for bringing in anyone, whether it be CJ or Harrison Barnes, how for the short term it's going to make the Knicks better for this season. Because everything, like you said, Andy, in the last show, a lot of the offense is run through Julius, right? He's half of the team's offense. So you just get rid of him. Like that's just a lot of stuff for the team to be able to make up. And I don't know if that's going to work out. Bing Bong Nick says Barnes can play 3 different positions. Yes, absolutely. Julius, Kemba, Evan play no defense, not score like CJ. Knick fans. Yeah, to me, Knick fans look at Portland and they say if we get a player from Portland, we're going to be in the same position as Portland. I don't think that's the case at all. We've seen DeMar DeRozan. A lot of people were saying, I don't want DeMar DeRozan. And look at the impact he's making on Chicago right now. I bet you a lot of y'all would rather have DeMar DeRozan over Evan Fournier right now, right? So I just think Knick fans are just, they're just so caught up in, hating on other players, hating on players from different organizations because their success hasn't been there. So let's see. Rich Jim, putting CJ on this team will be the same when we put Fournier on the team. Have you watched CJ in the playoffs with Blazers? Again, Knicks fans. Yeah, CJ McCollum is a baller. Mid-range king. He definitely can shoot the basketball. I don't know what his percentages are this season, but CJ McCollum is not a bad player. I don't know why fans are kind of hating on him for that. All right, Andy, let me do one more. So this next trade right here is something that we thought of in the beginning of the show, and we're talking about it, and Randle for Sabonis. So this is how I think a Randle for Sabonis trade will look like. To me, it still doesn't make really any sense for both sides. Well, for the Knicks it does, but for the Pacers, I don't think this makes any sense for them. But this is the trade that me and Andy thought about here. The Knicks are receiving Sabonis and Torrey Craig, and the Pacers are going to receive Julius Randle and one of our first-round picks in 2023. So I'm going to go first, Andy. For me, I would like this as on the Knicks, right? I would like this type of trade, right? Sabonis, obviously, to me, him and Randle basically cancel each other out. Torrey Craig, is a solid wing defender that we can use. Right, I know people are going to say, "Oh, but that's going to clog it up for Cam Reddish." I just don't understand that. But I'm looking at the contract implications here. Randle is owed a contract for the next 4 or 5 seasons. Sabonis' contract ends in 3 seasons, so that helps us. Torrey Craig is another expiring deal for next season, so that's more money that's coming off the books next season, right? So for the Knicks, this works, but for the Pacers, I don't think this works because, I think they want to get younger and they want to, not have any money tied up to their books for the long term. And I think with Randle's contract, to me, it just doesn't make any sense for them to do that. Now, if they think that they can get a different Julius Randle out of the deal, I mean, I can see them making it. Maybe the first round pick is what entices them to do so, but I just don't see the Pacers doing this. Andy, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, the word around the league, Josh, as far as the Pacers go, they are looking for a huge haul for Domantas Sabonis. And if I'm the Pacers, I would do so too. They're looking for some deal type of that the Bulls had to pay for Vucevic, which was a young player in Wendell Calder Jr., a salary filler for Vucevic, and that was Otto Porter, if I'm correct. And they sent it also 2 first-round picks. One was protected, and one wasn't protected. So the Pacers are also looking, like you said, in rebuild mode. So they're looking for a young player. Listen, if I'm the Pacers, I'm asking for a guy like Obi Toppin. A guy like Obi Toppin, not only would he fill that, that role for them as a rebuilding team, he's young, his salary isn't that big. That's why we would have to, fill in a little bit of money on that trade if we would send Obi there. You would have to add Alec Burks, Kemba Walker, maybe, or Nerlens Noel, someone like that, just to make the salary work. Question is, if the Knicks are willing to part ways with 2 first-round picks. I'm pretty sure that's the asking price of the Pacers. But listen, this is no negotiations, right? So they're asking for 2 first-round picks. You try to give them one, or even a second one, or only a second-round pick, right? So the question is, if they would do a trade for Obi, if they are not trying to take Julius, right? Then again, if you trade Obi and a pick, and for example Burks for Sabonis, and they would go for that deal, you are not going to play both Sabonis and Randle by the side.
Right.
So you have to have another deal for Randle in place. As soon as you pull one trigger, you got to do it again, right? So then you can trade, Randle for a Fox or for a point guard, at least a point guard, right? So you
because then you have the power forward filled in with you have right.
So
that makes sense.
So that's the only way, because if we would have these 2 guys, you're not gonna bench neither of these guys, and you're not gonna play them both side to side, because that would be majorly stupid. And then I think that's the story on this trade scenario.
Yeah, to me, it just doesn't make any sense right now. Anointed for Diaz says, Josh, be quiet. You don't make sense. Okay. He says, Barnes would make us better. How? How does Harrison Barnes make us better right now? And how many more wins are we going to have with Harrison Barnes here instead of Julius Randle? Most of the offenses run through Julius Randle. He draws double teams. Like, I get it. He's not playing good basketball right now, but I'm talking about us, the way we run our offense. You can't just swap those players in here, flip a switch, and expect the Knicks to win more games. It's not going to happen in the short term. Now, maybe next season, if we have Harrison Barnes, you give them like a half a season to play with each other, and RJ takes more of a leap in the offense. That's different. But this season is done. If you get rid of Julius Randle off this team, this season is done. So I'm not saying I'm not gonna make the trade because of that. Because if people think Randle's addition by subtraction, then so be it. But I just don't see how bringing Harrison Barnes in here, taking away Julius Randle, makes this team better this season. I just don't see it. Not at all. Paul Butler says Randle has to go. Okay, I'm with you. But just understand, when we trade Julius Randle this season, the season's going to be even worse than, what we bargained for. David L. says Randle is worth and better than anyone you draft. Some of these takes are stupidity is sad. I agree. Bing Bong Nick says Knicks are worse with Randle, so how trading him won't make us better. Okay, I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm not going to repeat myself again. If this is the deal, then keep Randle. Yeah, I'm kind of split on that. Because, like I said, my big hesitancy with trading Randle was for 2 reasons. I don't think it's going to make us better. Or unless we're bringing someone in to make us better, I'm not going to do it. And secondly, I was looking for that other person to take the next step, meaning RJ Barrett. now that RJ Barrett has taken that next step and is more aggressive in this offense, and we have shown that we can run some plays through him and be effective, I can part ways with Randle from that front, right? It's just that in this point in the season, right now, halfway through the year, I just don't think it makes, if you're looking to win, you're not trading Julius Randle and winning games. I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. Rich Jim says we should keep Randle one more year and trade Kemba, Evan, Burks, and Noel this season. So I'm with you, Rich Jim. I won't trade all of those 4 guys, Kemba, Evan, Brooks, and Noel this season, because think about it, all their money comes off the books next season. So you want to be able to save some of that cap space,
flexibility,
that flexibility. So you don't want to get rid of all 4 of them. Now maybe 2 of them, I'm with you on that. You know what I'm saying? Kemba and Noel for me. I'm thinking.
Yeah, and Josh, not to mention, listen, if we just bounce 4 of the guys that are in the rotation, listen, that the chemistry and the training cap situation is back from day one. So we're definitely trading just those 4, unless we get a superstar player. It's not going to make the Knicks also better. So
right, and that's what the biggest thing I'm trying to get across to people. Like these trades, I mean, I get it. They make sense if you think about long-term implications, but don't make these trades now and expect the Knicks to do well this season. Like this season is pretty much, done. I think the Knicks can still squeak into the playoffs. They won't do anything substantial, but after 50 games, I mean, it's just very difficult for me to envision a trade that the Knicks can do to make them better this season. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't understand that at all. Joe loves to hate. Sell them for a burger and fries. Yeah, you definitely do love to hate. G and Juicy says the delusion is high. I don't know if he's talking about me or everyone else. Season isn't over. It's about to begin after February 10th. Okay, I don't see where you see that at. Unless we're bringing back a superstar player for Julius Randle, I don't see how you can say something like that. Or if the Knicks miraculously start to play better. Rich Boy said, let Cam take Randle's spot. Let Cam get those touches. I got you. All right, Andy. All right, so Andy, it's your turn. Andy's going to pull up some trades from the Fanspo app, and this is basically what's submitted to us via the Fanspo app, and we're going to talk about these. Andy, you got it.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna first show a request. Randle could get moved to Houston or the Mavs, send him home to Texas so he can get a reset and a familiar environment because he's toast in New York. And famous No King, bro, I got you. I got all the trades you want to see on this one. Okay, let me add this, and I'm gonna pull it bigger. Sorry, now this tab, it's supposed to be wait up, Josh. See, like you said, it's live
right
stuff. So I need to reshare.
All right, go ahead, Andy. While you do that, I'm gonna read some more of these comments. I'm gonna read the super chat that we just got in. Appreciated SB Gorilla. Thank you for the $2 super chat. He said his play is bad, his behavior is worse. I'm with you. I'm totally with you, and I have no explanation as to why. I'm not going to defend him. I'm not going to defend him at all. He's not been playing his best basketball this year. I just really can't defend that. But again, for the Knicks, it's not addition by subtraction. Just by taking Julius Randle off this team and without getting a superstar player back in return, I don't see how the Knicks are going to be better by just getting rid of Julius Randle. So I'm with you, SB Gorilla. I'm really with you. It's just I don't see how trading him helps us in the short term. I mean, at all. So thank you for the super chat though.
Yeah. So listen, we got a 4-team trade. This is straight up from Fanspo, not from an NBK fan, and even not from a Knicks fan. I think if I'm correct, this is from a Pacers fan. So we know that the Pacers are having the biggest come up from this trade.
Oh my goodness.
So listen, the Rockets, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Indiana Pacers, and the Knicks participate in a deal that send Jared Culver, Steven Adams, and a first-round pick from the Memphis from year 2024 to the Rockets. The Grizzlies, which are also looking to improve for this season. They have a great season, but they're looking to improve basically probably for Ja Morant, right? They're getting Domantas Sabonis, Armani Brooks, Eric Gordon, and Justin Holiday, which is, a mix of vets that could probably help a Grizzlies team. Since the Grizzlies are, they're losing the starting center in Steven Adams, right? But they're not losing that many young players. If you ask me, when you're getting back a vet in Eric Gordon and Justin Holiday, to push for the playoffs even deeper, right? So I think, as far as the Grizzlies go, I think they would be cool with this trade. The Pacers get Ty Jones, Brandon Clark, Obi Toppin, Zaire Williams, Evan Fournier, and four first-round picks, 3 from the Memphis Grizzlies and 1 from the New York Knicks via Dallas, right? So they get the young players. They have to, get stuck with Fournier's probably deal because they are losing a couple of guys with bigger salaries. So that money has to work. But they get the four first-round picks, which, for the future of them, that could turn around the Pacers. Maybe not immediately, but definitely in a shorter span of time. So I think they also could be happy with that come up. Meanwhile, the Knicks would get Karis LeVert and Torrey Craig. Listen, the Knicks probably weren't mentioned for a Karis LeVert trade, but he has a short deal, 2-year deal. If we lose Fournier, he could fill in that roster spot and even probably rotation spot in the first squad, right? First starting 5. We don't trade Julius Randle in this, scenario, so he's still with him. Like I said at the beginning, 14 trade rarely gonna happen, but that's something that fans from across the NBA are linking with the New York Knicks.
Andy, I just want to say this trade is giving me a headache just by looking at it. I'm not going to lie to you. I have a massive headache just looking at this thing. Excuse me. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, so listen, the Knicks basically trade Toppin, Fournier, and a first-round pick to get Karis LeVert and Torrey Craig, right? I think you could say that they're upgrading the roster because Karis LeVert probably, for most Knicks fans, is better than Evan Fournier, and Torrey Craig, as in the short term, is probably better than Obi Toppin as far as the defense, and would probably fit more for Tibbs. So I think this trade might not be that dumb that that it looks at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a dumb trade. It's just like a lot to dissect through and to go through.
Yeah.
For me, I guess the Knicks, they get rid of Obi, they get rid of Fournier's contract, and they get rid of a first round pick to get LeVert and Torrey Craig. To me, I mean, I guess, for the Knicks, it just creates more of a glut at that wing position, right? You got LeVert, Craig, and actually added him to a team that has Cam Reddish, that has RJ, that has Grimes, and it just creates more of that glut. So for me, I just don't think this works out for the Knicks because of everything that they're giving up and what they're getting in return. I like Karis LeVert. He's a really good player. If we didn't go after Cam Reddish, I think Karis LeVert would have been an equitable asset. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense for the Knicks right now because of them having Cam Reddish on this team. And everybody in the chat also agrees. Danny says the Grizzlies winning right now decide to get rid of their whole squad. Well, this is not them getting rid of their whole squad. They're just getting rid of some picks and basically Steven Adams. That's their, the major rotation piece that's going in this trade. But they get back a Sabonis, they get back, a Gordon, they get back a Justin Holiday. I don't. This is not them giving up their whole team. This is them giving up their draft capital to try to compete in the Western Conference this year. But I just don't know if this is going to happen just because the Grizzlies are playing so well right now. And I really just don't think Sabonis and Holiday and Gordon gets them to that next level as much as this fan wants to think. But for the Pacers, they come out with a whole bunch of young players and draft picks. So I guess for the Pacers, it makes them happy. So
yeah, exactly.
Natzay says, what kind of trade is this? Chris, F them, F that deal, okay? Beats by Franks has some optimism. He says this trade does make sense, I guess. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Just give them 9 first-round picks. Go ahead, Andy. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, we got another trade. And again, this is a trade that, again, wasn't, made by a Knicks fan. And wasn't made, it was made from some other team fan. So you should look at, one of the other teams in the 76ers, Kings, or the Mavericks that would be most happy, after this trade. And in this trade, the Knicks add Boban, Buddy Hield, and Tobias Harris, and a first-round pick from the Mavs. Meanwhile, we are sending 2022 second-round pick to the 76ers, Mitch Robinson, Alec Burks, Evan Fournier to the Kings, and Kemba Walker and Julius Randle to the Mavs. This is what Infamous, King was asking to just send Julius to Texas, which is,
Home.
sending him home to Dallas. Even I think he's from Dallas, so that's sending him to Dallas. We heard reports that the Mavericks front office is interested and has ties with Kemba Walker. So
Yes.
this might be something brewing there. And listen, we get back two players. If you trade Fournier and you trade Randall, you get back a Buddy Hield and Tobias Harris. Would we be, and we also lose a big part in Mitch Robinson. So you would have to go probably with Netherlands Noel and Boban as a backup, right? But forgetting about the center position, you get Buddy Hield and Tobias Harris for Julius Randle and Evan Fournier. Would that be a better Knicks roster after this trade? I'm not sure. Just putting this out again as a option. As far as the names that were brewing from the Knicks front office, that they're willing to trade a Burks, a vet probably in Walker and the rest of the guys. So here you guys have another option as a trade. Would I be happy with this trade? I'm not so sure. I like Buddy Hield, but he's kind of a head case for me. I'm not sure about this. Tobias Harris, I love, but his salary above 35 million. Oh man, if the Knicks fans are mad about Julius, getting 20 million, 21.7 and playing bad basketball, I don't think Tobias Harris for 36 million almost would make the Knicks more happy.
So Andy, I actually like this for the Knicks. I do, because look, everyone's complaining about the veterans anyway. Burks, Fournier, and Kemba and Randall all included in this trade, so you get to get rid of everybody. That's what you want to do anyway, right? That's what everybody wants to do. You want to get rid of all the veterans, right? So here's an opportunity to do so. We acquire a guy in Tobias Harris who, I get it, Andy, you're worried about his contract, but it's less years than it is for Randall, right? You're going to have to pay a little bit more per season, but it's less years. Buddy Hield, I think his contract, he's worth that money in my opinion. To me, he's worth that. But basically, you replace Fournier for him, which I think it will be a good addition. Yeah, we are getting rid of Mitchell Robinson in this deal, but I think Mitchell Robinson is going to walk in free agency anyway. So you're not really losing nothing there. Once again, this season, we won't really do much this season, but moving forward, are these the right veterans you want to put with your young guys? Maybe replacing Randall with Tobias Harris and Fournier with Buddy Hield, and we still get another first-round pick out of the deal. It's later on, but, and we're only giving up a second-round pick in this trade, right? So I think for the Knicks, this makes a lot of sense. For the Kings, I guess that makes some sense for them. For the Mavericks, if they want to shed salary, I guess this is a good deal for them. My only question is the Sixers. Why would the Sixers trade Tobias Harris right now for Porzingis and 2 picks in the middle of a playoff run where they are contenders? So that's just my thing with this. I don't think this is going to work out just specifically for the Sixers. I don't know if the Sixers would make this deal. I don't know why they would shed salary at this point and get rid of Tobias Harris' salary when they are contending in the Eastern Conference. What do you think about that?
Listen, one team has to lose in these trades that you have 4 teams. Maybe there's something, maybe there's the 76ers were only, that 4 team that jumped in that trade in this scenario. But listen, 4-team trades or 3-team trades are hard to pull off. 4-team trades, almost impossible. 5-team trades is just, if someone needs to send some, free cash somewhere to do a favor for someone we don't know about, that's the only way that's going to happen. So like I said, these trades are rarely going to happen, but you got to show them if they at least make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, and I think that the comments are very mixed about this. I think more on the side where they don't think this is going to work out. David L says Tobias is supposed to be a small forward, but you can't tell the Sixers that. Yeah, they got him playing the 4, right? They got him playing the 4, and they had Simmons playing the 3, when he was available. So None of these trades upgrade the Knicks. Yeah, but everybody wants to get rid of the veterans, though.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get rid of the
Or
veterans.
Randle, right?
Or Randle. Everybody wants to get rid of them, though, right? So, pick your poison. Which one is it?
Yeah.
GNG says, I smack myself with this trade run through. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, and listen, we asked you guys to submit your trades. We we found a couple from you guys. We find a couple from the rest of the NBA fans. So listen, it's not gonna hurt no one just to listen to those.
Right, exactly. Everybody wants to trade Randle, but no one has a trade package that they think can make sense. And that's the point. Everybody is, is so angry about Randle. Just get him out of here. Get him out of here. I don't care what you do. And then when you start pulling up these numbers and you pull up these trades, then, you call everybody else dumb for making trades like this, right? Andrew Wilson says the Knicks get killed in this trade, right? Bricks Nation says heal when we got Grimes. You gotta be able to make it work, right? Rich Boy says, I promise everyone, if Mitch becomes a free agent, he is gone because of Tibbs and Randle toxic environment. I don't know about the toxic environment. I don't know about that. I don't know where you see that. Beats by Frank says, yeah, Tobias Harris contract is so bad. I don't think it's bad. I really don't think it's bad. I think, for the Sixers, to them, it helps them become contenders. They're contenders. The Sixers been contending every single season. Now, I know they weren't supposed to lose to Atlanta last year, but the Sixers were number one in the Eastern Conference last year, and they're up there again this season. So for the Sixers, it makes a lot of sense. I think they spent that money wisely for them, but I think they're going to be competitive, right? $40 million Tobias is a toxic contract. I don't agree with that. Harris is from New York. He's from Long Island. Yep. And Eddie Alvarez. So now Cam is behind Tobias Harris, a guy who does not move any needle. Yeah, but Tobias Harris can play some of the four. You get rid of Randle, I think they put Harris at the four, particularly if we still keep Nerlens this season, right? So then you can put Cam at the three. Fournier will be gone, so you can put I guess Cam at the three, RJ at the two. That's what everybody wants to do anyway, right? So, and RJ says Knicks need a scoring big man, get Miles Turner, trade Robinson, and Walker. Okay, so yeah, thank y'all for the comments. I really appreciate it. Andy, you got one more trade you say you want to highlight?
Yeah, exactly. Right. I got one more, Josh. Let me just share the last tab. And this is once again, fans ask, we deliver, Josh. So, and as it says, this trade fails because, Julius is going to be able to be traded after February the 3rd. Listen, the Knicks get a point guard in DJ Augustin, a journeyman, right? But he's still a solid point guard in this league. I'm guessing we would have to trade Kemba Walker because, having three veteran point guards is not going to work with Quickly and McBride on the roster. So 5 point guards in a 15-man squad won't do it. So probably more trades would have to happen, but we trade Julius Randle and a second-round pick from this upcoming draft. Listen, I think these second-round picks, if we're going to pick them, they're going to get stashed in the Westchester Knicks because I don't see Tibbs adding any more young guys. So we still don't play McBride more. We still don't break Sims, right? So adding two more or 2 or 3 even rookies to next year's roster while cutting the vets is not going to work for Tibbs. That I'm sure about that. So I wouldn't be keen on just dealing these year's picks. And we get Christian Wood, which we were interested before he signed with Houston.
Yep.
He has a fair deal, $13.6 million, and only 2 years. The same with DJ Augustin, $7 million, so that's less than Kemba Walker. Listen, I think the Rockets, they're in rebuild mode, right? They got plenty of young guys. They get Alperen Sengun. They got those, guards set up for the future. They also got Daniel Tice, right, at the 5. So adding a big man and Julius Randle, just imagining that he's going to finally turn it around for them, I think they might, gamble on this one, not to mention that Christian Wood had some problems with the assistant coaches. There was a rift.
Right.
So I think, just trading him and getting Julius in a return, that might not be that bad for the Rockets, actually.
Yeah, Andy, actually, I think out of all the trades that we've spoken about today in regards to Randall, I think this one makes the most sense for both
And it's
sides.
the easiest one to pull out, right? Not many
Absolutely.
players, not many, thinking, adding numbers and stuff like that. A couple of
Right.
calls, and I think that this might be done.
Right.
The question is, would be, well, would the Knicks would be a winning side on this deal? For me, not so. I'm not so sure because Christian Wood, if he steps in and is trying to fill the Julius Randle spot on this offense, bro, I don't even want to comment on that. I think Obi would be filling those shoes a little bit better at the beginning. And that's not a bash on Christian Wood. He's a good player, but I don't think he's anywhere near Julius Randle's skill set. Of course, not the last 5-10 games, Julius Randle, but the skill set of Christian Wood is not even close to Julius Randle's skill set. So we got to be
Yeah.
true about that.
Andy, yeah, and Profound Clark says he loves his trade. Doesn't think Houston does this. I think Houston would consider doing this. I absolutely think they would. First of all, like you said, Christian Wood has had some issues with the coaching staff, so I think his time is basically going to be done there. I don't think he's going to resign there beyond next season, right? Both of these contracts that we're getting are both expiring deals for next season, right? So we got that money coming off the books. We basically get out of Randall's extension to bring in these two players. I think the money adds up here. Give up a second-round pick, which we have a bunch of anyway, right? And I think for Houston, their incentive basically is to get back a player in Randall who you can be able to run some of the offense through. And I think he can fit well in Houston. Send him back to Texas, right? So I really, really am interested by this. And like I said earlier, any deal that the Knicks make that involves getting rid of Julius Randle, if you get back a player of equal or lesser value, the Knicks are not going to be good this season. Like, we're just not going to be good. So I'm looking at beyond. And I think because of the contracts, the way they're set up, because Wood and Augustine are really good ball players, we can use them for next season, right? Augustine can be a secondary ball handler that we can have at the point guard position until the free agent class of 2023. And then we'll see what we can do at that point. But I like this, Andy. I really don't have any gripes about this from the Knicks standpoint. The only thing I will say, is how's the rotation going to work? You basically replace Randall for Wood, so you got that 1-for-1 there. But where's Augustine going to fit in the point guard rotation? You got to find a way to get rid of Kemba and some of these other guards. But I think this is a step in the right direction if we do make this trade. So I really like this one a lot, Andy. I really do. So let me just highlight some more of these comments, and then we'll hurry up and get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please smash that like button. We really appreciate what you guys have to say in the comment section. We really do appreciate it. Let me just get some more of these comments in here before we get out of here. And a lot of people in the chat are talking about De'Aaron Fox, Andy. You got any quick hitters about De'Aaron Fox? What do you think would be a good trade for the Kings?
Listen, I think for one, they gave him a huge contract because his contract is like the next 4 years also. His numbers this season are maybe not, dropped like Julius's numbers, but he's also having a really bad season. Not to mention, De'Aaron Fox is nowhere near the 3-point shooter that all the Knicks fans suddenly want and love.
Right.
A point guard that can shoot the three. So if you're gonna get similar production, maybe not similar production, that's a bad comparison to Kemba Walker, but I think Kemba Walker still gives you some kind of an offense. Fox can run. Meanwhile, ask yourself a question: does Tibbs want to run? He doesn't. So does he fit the Tibbs offense? I don't think so.
Right.
Will he? Unless we're looking to dump Tibbs after this season, then you make a move like this and see if Tibbs, reacts and changes the scheme. If he doesn't, he probably asks for, getting out of this contract in the off season because, I think if you're looking at the point guards around the league, man, Tibbs would have Fox and Fox's skill set at, probably the 20 a couple point guard that would be on his list. So I'm not sure about the De'Aaron Fox. His numbers are, I think, maybe not worse, but I think defensively they're probably worse than Alfred Payton's. So listen,
right.
It might be not a great fit. And people always say, we need to fill the roster with players that Tibbs is going to use, that the coaches see in their schemes. De'Aaron Fox is not one of those guys.
Yeah, Andy, I'm with you. I think De'Aaron Fox is a really good player. However, I question the fit. That's just always been my thing with De'Aaron Fox. I know Knicks fans are kind of looking at it like, yeah, but he's a point guard. He's a young point guard. For me, for his contract, I just don't. I think the reason why the Kings gave him that contract, again, small market team, they got to be able to pay guys to stay there. And you see it doesn't always work out. For me, I just don't like the fit. Him playing next to RJ, I guess if Tibbs would like to run more, I guess it can work out. But I just don't really see it in the short term. Salute to Diaz Ball, and he said, "What is this infatuation with Randle? I don't get it." Andy, do you feel like I have an infatuation with Randle?
I don't think so.
Yeah, look, it's not an infatuation with Randle. The whole thing is the Knicks are not going to be good this season. You trade Randle, the team is not going to be good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Now, if this was the beginning of the season, and we got a whole season to look forward to, maybe the players can kind of get used to each other. Yes, fine. Trade Julius Randle, bring in some equal or lesser talent, and let's see what we can be able to do. Not if RJ Barrett is taking the next step. But in 50 games into the season, in the next 30 games, you're not bringing in someone with equal or lesser value than Julius Randle and telling me that this team is going to be good. I'm sorry. The guy is we run half of our offensive sets through Julius Randle. You're not getting rid of that guy and expecting another person to come in and do it better. I'm just sorry. Not at this point in the season. Beginning of the season, no problem. I'm all for it. But not, at this point in the season, I just don't see it. Kaiser Sosa, he said the Knicks are not going to be good, like the Knicks are good right now with Randle. No, we're not good, but don't expect that if you trade Julius Randle now, the team is going to get better. They're going to be either the same or worse. The same or worse. So what are we making this trade for? Like, are we doing it for the future? If we're doing it for the future, I'm all for it. But like all those people that think, trade Randle and the Knicks can still make the playoffs this year, it's just not going to happen. Why is the hate on Randle? Trade Burks now. I don't think it's on one specific person, honestly. I think, the team is just not playing well, and we're just looking for a scapegoat. Beats by Frank says, no De'Aaron Fox. Rich Jim. I don't think everyone wants Randle going. I'm giving Randle another year because it makes no sense to trade him now at his low point. Plus, I think he can still give us something. I agree with that. I agree. Listen, everybody wants to trade Randle. That's the whole reason why we're doing this, because we want to see what you guys think, right? Everyone wants to trade Randle until we start pulling these trades up. So let's see. Let me get a couple more of these comments. We could get a bigger fish than Christian Woods for Randle. Who? Who do you think? Diaz Bowling. All right. Let me do a couple more comments. Guys, once again, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Smash that like button. We really appreciate you being with us on the Sunday. I know there's some football going on. As soon as we get off of here, I'm going to go watch the football games myself. Andy's going to probably pass out because it's pretty late over there in Poland. But I really thank you guys for tuning in. And once again, I'm sorry about yesterday. My internet went out down here in Charlotte, so I had to reschedule to today. I think fans at this point would rather rebuild than to get false hope and continue bringing on the hamster wheel of trying to fix something that can't be fixed. I'm with you, but don't act like that's the development is still not there. I think the kids are still developing in this system. I think they are developing. I think Grimes is developing. I think Mitchell Robinson's developing. If he decides to stay, RJ's definitely developing. Right? Obi's developing. He's better than what he was last season. So I just think people kind of get that confused, like, what the Knicks are doing right now to the future. Kaiser so say the time to trade Randle was last year. As soon as he got most improved player, his value will never be that high ever again. We let Randle rot on the vine and like an overripe fruit. Yeah, but, as an organization that hadn't made the playoffs in 7+ years, why would you trade the guy that got you there? Right? So you got to also look at it at that point. Now, if you want to make the argument about maybe his extension was too long and all that, I guess that's a different argument to make. But just to trade him, I think, that's not what a smart organization would do. And let me highlight one more comment. Diaz Ballin says Ben Simmons, Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox just for starters. Well, we put some trades up on the screen, and they didn't look too appetizing for fans. So, you got to be able to question how you're going to be able to get these trades done. Make it make sense for all sides. All right, Andy, I really appreciate you coming on with me. I know we're going to continue to do this, throughout the, until the trade deadline happens. I think it's next Friday. So I think next week we'll have one more show in regards to potential trades. Hopefully the Knicks would have made a trade by then. I think they need to do it before the trade deadline actually comes because there might be some good pieces off the board. So you got any final words to say to the people, Andy?
Yeah, like you said, Josh, probably at least one, if not two episodes before the trade deadline. If we pull, if the Knicks front office pulls the trigger, we might be looking, to add them an idea for the next trade. If it's not a certain position for position player, if they're gonna mix it up, we know that it's gonna be a follow up trade. After, for example, Julius Randle for a point guard, right? So there's going to be more trades if that's going to be the deal. Like I said, man, I love to do these shows. I bet you that we're going to be back probably on draft night or before that, if we're going to be looking at making more moves. Before the free agency starts. Also, probably we're going to stack up on these shows because we like guys, you guys that are involved with these trade proposals and stuff like that. We are really encouraging you guys, just go to fanspo.com, register, send us the link, so you won't have to scream at us in the comment section. Do this one for that one. Just do it yourself, and and give us the link. We're gonna show the graphics on the on the stream, so everyone else can critique it, not only us two.
Right. Now, once again, we need to thank Fanspo for giving us the ability to sponsor their trade machine and for sponsoring this episode. We really appreciate what they've done for us. Like Andy said, ladies and gentlemen, please go into Fanspo, create your trades. Let us know. Hit us out on Twitter. Hit us up on Twitter. My Twitter and Andy's Twitter are both in the description of this video. Or if you can just leave a comment under this video, let us know what you think. We'll check that as well, and we'll definitely talk about it as the trade deadline comes. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Andy, I appreciate you doing this. Go Knicks, and let's continue to get better this season. So thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we're going, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.